Today, I wanted to talk about what happens when you work with a spiritual teacher. And this is as much a heads up kind of warning as it is an invitation to awaken you to the opportunity that you actually have with a genuine spiritual teacher. What's happening when you are in the field of a genuine spiritual teacher is that the teacher is working on behalf of you and on behalf of deeper intelligence. So the spiritual teacher is not the thing. The spiritual teacher is mediating dialogue and relationship and attention between you and deeper intelligence. What it takes for a teacher to get to that point can be immense. So, yeah, the teacher gets kudos for the work that they've done and should be respected for the work that they've done. And the teacher's not the thing. The teacher is not the deeper intelligence. They're a medium for the deeper intelligence to communicate with you and for you to have experience with. So there's an opportunity there. When you work with a spiritual teacher, what's going to happen is when you get in the presence of that spiritual teacher, it activates and it potentiates deeper intelligence in your life. So, what this means is that it's not just you anymore, it's not just you and this person, your teacher anymore. There's a third presence that comes in. And that third presence, its attention gets activated through working with that spiritual teacher because the spiritual teacher lives in that field, lives in relationship with deeper intelligence, lives as a vessel for deeper intelligence. And not only does that get activated then in your field and activated in the space between you, but it also potentiates deeper intelligence. So, whatever's going on in your life and however you think you want your life to go, when you work with an actual spiritual teacher, the deeper intelligence is going to start to work with you and work with your weird, work with your field, work with your proclivities, your challenges, your baggage, your potential. It's going to work with you and work with you stronger and usually more intensively and more quickly than if you weren't working with an actual spiritual teacher. Now, that might sound great. We all want fast results, but the truth is that you may not have the tools, the skills, the capacity, or the relational connections that you need to be able to handle that type of potentiation, that type of intense, concentrated kind of surge of deeper intelligence as it comes in and reorganizes things. So it's going to pull you away from things that no longer serve you. It's going to pull you into what you're actually supposed to be doing in a way, according to your fate and intelligence and a lot of other things, including your own heart and your own gut and who you really are. None of us are the people that we need to be able to handle that. We become that by encountering it. So another thing that your spiritual teacher is going to do is they're going to meet you in what unfolds and ideally be able to give you the tools and the skills and help you grow your capacity to become more relational with this intelligence as it begins to really take you on a ride. What I've observed in working with people for 35 years of observing this phenomena as it happens. First of all, I didn't know it was happening, and then it just became kind of commonplace where people would go, I started working with you and my shit blew up, but it was all the stuff that I didn't like anyway, or all the stuff I didn't realize was holding me back, or all the stuff I didn't realize was not my thing or was problematic for me. So you start off with, oh my God, possibility. This feels amazing. I feel more seen. This is so deep and so true in every cell of my body. Isn't it wonderful? There's that. And then your shit starts to blow up. And it's like, what is happening? I didn't want this. I wanted things to get better, not worse, some iteration of that. And you have to navigate that territory, which is extremely important and extremely valuable. and then the whispers of who you really are and what that deeper intelligence wants to do in the world through you, and the possibilities of your own becoming start to reveal themselves to you. And 99% of people will feel inadequate to the task. We will feel overwhelmed by what's revealed, or we will feel that's impossible, or we'll feel like, I don't know how to do that. It's a very intense thing. And before any of this happens, when you first start out, you're like, oh, it sounds wonderful. So when deeper intelligence gets activated and potentiated, there's the honeymoon phase, then your shit blows up, then you're overwhelmed. And during that time, from the time your shit starts to blow up and going through overwhelm, that arc of time is so incredibly valuable and important, because it's when you are getting access to the things that you need to walk this path. So when your teacher is with you, they're observing how you struggle, they're observing the patterns, they're observing what is needed, and can articulate that for you and bring that to your attention. So you're not doing it all by yourself. You don't have to figure it, you don't have to know how. That's part of what a teacher is for, is to be at some point a companion for you who's really paying attention and bringing wisdom into choices. So it's not just like throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. It can feel like that, but there's a lot of wisdom where you're getting really custom tailored stuff, not from your teacher per se, but from deeper intelligence speaking through your teacher. So when you are receiving the attention of deeper intelligence, I'm going to tell you what happens on the teacher side of that, okay? I used to describe this to my clients where it's like when you come in and I pay attention to you, first I tune into you, and then it's like this little antenna goes up into this streaming river of all the things, and there are things floating in that river. It might be a nutrition protocol. It might be a chunk of information that's going to be pivotal for you. It might be a recognition of something that's been invisible or not acknowledged. It could be anything. And of all the things floating in that river, the little things that are for you will kind of light up. And then your teacher goes, oh, okay, I'm going to grab that and bring it through and give it to you. I'm going to grab that and bring it through and give it to you. It's not the teacher thinking this is what you need. Yes, the teacher's going to draw from their experience and their wealth of knowledge and all the tools they've accumulated for the time that they've been working. But the more profound thing that's happening is that is in service to the deeper intelligence and the relationship the deeper intelligence is having with you. So your teacher is a facilitator of that. And while all of that's happening, ideally, your teacher is instructing you and helping you and supporting you to develop your own ability to have more direct communication with deeper intelligence, to recognize when it's talking to you and what that feels like in your body, and how to begin to respectfully be reciprocal with that relationship with the deeper intelligence. And then getting you to a point of competency in your own becoming. And what I mean is that you now have capacity for the fact of your own becoming. So you're not getting the doors blown off anymore. You have skillfulness with the tools that your teacher has provided you with, or that you've discovered, or whatever. You get more skillful with the tools that you have. You grow your capacity and you begin to lean in a more trusting way. You begin to lean into relationship, not just with deeper intelligence, but relationship with all of life. So other people, all of life, you begin to address trust issues, and you begin to address disbelief, and you begin to address all the ways that you've been conditioned to be hyper rational that obliterate the possibility of a more mythical way of being, a more curious way of being. So your teacher is present for that whole process, with the end result should be getting you into a place where you have the ability to meet deeper intelligence and then let it pull you, and your teacher steps back. as you and deeper intelligence go and do whatever you guys are going to do together. So it's not prescriptive work where it's like we're trying to get you to a specific point that looks like this. It's we're trying to get you to the place where you and deeper intelligence can do your thing without you getting completely wrecked or driven mad or made very sick or totally derailed by working with it. And it's tricky territory because a lot of times the unraveling of the unbecoming you have to do to get to a place of unfolding, sometimes that unbecoming is actually, it's not unbecoming, it's that there's things that are happening that are very serious that need to be addressed in a different way. It's like you don't just put everything in the bag and go, oh, it's just your unbecoming. All of this discomfort is just, it's a good thing. It doesn't always mean that. And sometimes even if it does mean that, maybe you don't have to suffer quite so much, or maybe it doesn't have to be quite so hard, or maybe there's a more rooted way of addressing it. So all of this is to say that when you are in the field of a genuine teacher, shit's going to happen and it's going to move and it's going to be wacky and it can be a roller coaster and you're going to go through honeymoon, hope, eureka kind of moment into total shit show, into fear of the possibility of what you are actually happening and you becoming what you truly are. That's gnarly. It sounds from the outside, it sounds great, but when you're in it facing it, you feel so inadequate for the task and so overwhelmed and you don't know how. Like, of course you don't, because the only way to move forward is by partnering with deeper intelligence in order to do that. There's a point where you cannot be on a solo journey anymore. You absolutely require partnering with this intelligence that's going to keep pulling you, these beings that are going to begin to work with you. It's unnerving. It's unnerving because you never know where you're headed, or you'll get a little glimpse and then you think it's an island and oh, you've arrived. No, that was just getting you ready for the next thing. And that was just getting you ready for the next thing. And that was just getting you ready for the next thing. And that's why it's a relationship, because you need to communicate your fears, your limits, the requirements that you have in order to be able to walk this path. It's the same way in any adult relationship where you need to vocalize your needs, you need to co-create, you need to grow your capacity, you need to negotiate. You have to do all of that with the spirits. You need to actually come into mature, reciprocal, communicative relationship with these spirit beings and respectful relationship with these spirit beings as they pull you into your own becoming. So you get to practice that relational respect and reciprocity with your teacher. And that means communicating your own needs, making requests, putting things on your teacher's radar, and not treating them like they're all seeing and all knowing and all responsible for you. So you practice with your human teacher, and you practice in that very human space as sort of a prelude to the more unknown, bigger, scarier space of working with spirits as this deeper intelligence begins to work in your life. And I think that the difference between working with an actual spiritual teacher versus someone who teaches spiritual things is that field activation, and that teacher as a mediator between deeper intelligence and you, rather than I'm enlightened and I know all this stuff and I'm going to teach you all this stuff and you have to listen to me because I'm more enlightened than you. You have to listen to me because I know better than you, right? There's a difference. I see a lot of people teaching spiritual things and centering themselves as the teacher of spiritual things rather than understanding that the teacher is mediating a conversation and a relationship between you and deeper intelligence to awaken, for your benefit, to awaken your ability to experience what deeper intelligence feels like and experience how deeper intelligence works, getting you oriented to the relational phenomenon of shifting from hyper-independence and knowledge into this relational space where your life is about your place in the ecosystem. Your life isn't about your personal agenda and objective. I define spirituality as having a relationship with something greater than yourself. Is a really simple definition. If you've ever been a parent, or if you have ever had a pet, or a really dear friend or a really dear family member where their need is inconvenient, and yet the love in you causes you to respond to that need, and you're cleaning up vomit or you're doing things that in any other circumstance might gross you out or might be problematic, there's something in there that's you're able to do it because of the way that you're rooted in that relationship, because of the way relationship affects you. It's the same thing in a spiritual context when you're working with the deeper intelligence. When you begin to be in a genuine relationship with deeper intelligence, it anchors and strengthens and enables things in you that you by yourself on a personal growth path or being a spiritual person or whatever it is not available. Doesn't happen. It's qualitatively different. So working with a spiritual teacher begins to awaken and anchor you in that relational space so that when your teacher kind of steps out and you and deeper intelligence begin to work together, they're stepping out, you're now relationally awake enough and you're now tuned in enough to the deeper intelligence that you can then move forward in a way. You're now equipped to now move forward in whatever that relationship begins to require of you. And it doesn't mean it's not going to kick your ass, and it doesn't mean it's not going to be times where it's unpleasant, but that's when your actual transformation begins to happen, where your own unbecoming, which means what I mean by that is your own conditioning or what you thought the way things were begins to drop away, and you experience reality itself and how things actually are. And it's a process of transitioning from what I think I know to what actually is as the deeper intelligence reveals it to me. And in that space, you discover who you are, you discover what you are, you discover what life really is. And that's part of why that relationship process is so extremely important until you get to the point that you are sufficiently transformed where you are literally now part of the ecosystem and you are living anchored in that ecosystem in a way where your happiness is the happiness of the ecosystem. Your purpose is the purpose of the ecosystem. Your satisfaction is the wellness of the ecosystem. And you don't have the same relationship with your own ideas about what your life should be. So I wanted to give you that information because I think a lot of people really don't understand what's happening when they work with a genuine spiritual teacher. The genuine, actual, true spiritual teachers that I have met that are real teachers, they're really conduits for the deeper intelligence and they get activated and they potentiate. They aren't into themselves. They aren't like, I am so evolved and I'm enlightened and I'm holy and I'm all of these things. Like I'm the, second coming of the Magdalene or whatever. They don't feel that way about themselves because they are in the ecosystem and they understand that they're in the circle of life, not the hierarchy, not the human hierarchy of it. And when you're in the circle of life and you're genuinely sufficiently transformed that you're in the circle of life, you're just part of it. So there's I think a natural humility that's present in the teacher because the real star of the show is life itself, not the person who just happens to have had their ass kicked hard enough to get transformed into waking up to that, into living that way. It's actually quite mundane. It's quite ordinary to just belong. It's not like, oh my God, when I talk sparkles fly. It's not like that. And the magic that does happen and the profundity that happens and the mind-blowing things that happen is in the relational space, not emanating from the teacher into the world. It's in the relational space. Like I say incredible stuff, or I say really witchy, like oracle stuff because of deeper intelligence, not because of me. I oftentimes don't even remember the stuff that comes out of my mouth when there's a dialogue going on between deeper intelligence and people that I work with. Or I go, whoa, that was amazing because I'm witnessing it because I'm not generating it. And I take full credit for the things that I've learned and my toolbox and my capacity, all the things that I, as a little human mediator, have done. I'm cool with that. And I'm proud of myself for it. And it's awesome. Right. And I've paid the price for it. Cool. But I'm not the one generating the magic. I'm not the one generating the power. I'm not the one generating the wisdom. I'm not the one generating the insight. I'm not the one generating the path. I'm participating in it just like you are. And we're both there to make space for deeper intelligence to come and guide us and to teach us and transform us. And I think any spiritual teacher worth their salt, that's behind the curtain. That's what they're actually doing and who and what they actually are. Anyway, so that was what I wanted to say and share with you. And I hope this is useful and best of luck to you. Thanks. Bye.